Welcome to the video. Today our topic is Albert Einstein incredible work ethic. Is a best inspirational story. As soon as he hung up the phone, Ralph Morse knew that he needed to get moving. He was still 90 miles away, and there would not be much time before people began to hear the news. Albert Einstein had just died. Morse was a photographer of our Life magazine. He drove down to Princeton, New York, New Jersey as fast as possible, but other members of the media had already been altered by the time he arrived. Morse would later recall the situation by saying, Einstein died at a Princeton hospital, so I headed there first, but it was chaos, journalists, photographers, onlookers, so headed over to Einstein's office at the Institute of Advanced Studies. On the way, I stopped and bought a case of scotch. I knew people might be reluctant to talk, but most people are happy to accept a bottle of booze instead of money in exchange for their help. I get to the building, find the superintendent, give him a fifth of scotch, and like that, he opens up the office. When Morse walked into Einstein's office, he snapped a photo of the desk where Albert Einstein had been working just hours before. Nobody knew it yet, but Einstein's body would be cremated before anyone would capture a final photo of him. As a result, Morse's photo of Einstein's desk would soon become the final iconic image of the great scientist's career. The work ethic of Albert Einstein. Einstein died of the internal bleeding caused by the rupture of an abdominal condition he had struggled with for years. In 1948, 7 years before his death, Einstein had surgery to prevent the grapefruit-sized from reproducing. One physician familiar with Einstein's case wrote, for a number of years he had suffered from attacks of upper abdominal pains which usually lasted for 2 or 3 days and were often accompanied by vomiting. These attacks usually occurred about every 3 or 4 months. Einstein continued to work despite the pain. He published papers well into the 1950s. Even on the day of his death in 1958, he was working on a speech he was scheduled to give on Israeli television, and he brought the. And the next is contributing versus consuming. Try not to become a man of success rather than become a man of value. Albert Einstein. Einstein's most famous contribution to science, the journal his theory of relativity was published in 1915. He won the Nobel Prize in 1921 rather than assume he was a finished product. Einstein continued to work and contributed to the field of 40 more years. Up until the moment of his death, Albert Einstein continued to squeeze every ounce of greatness out of himself. He never rested on his laurels. He continued to work even through several physical pain in the face of death. Everyone has a gift to share with the world, something that both lights you on fire internally and serves the world internally. And this calling should be something you pursue until your final death. It could be your actual job, as it was for Einstein. It could be a creative hobby, as it was for Wyman Mayer. It could be the care you provide to those around you, and whatever it is for you. Our lives were meant to be spent making our contribution to the world, not merely consuming the world that others create. I have done my share. Hours before his death, Einstein doctors proposed trying to a new and unproven surgery as a final option for extending his life. Einstein simply replied, I have done my share, it is time to go, I will do it diligently. We cannot predict the value of our work, we will provide the world, that is fine. It is not our job to judge our work, it is our job to create it, to pour ourselves into it, and to master our craft our best we can. We all have the opportunity to squeeze every ounce of greatness out of ourselves that we can. We all have the chance to do our shares.